US President Donald Trump has made it clear Ukraine will be involved in peace talks with Russia a day after he declared Kyiv would have to make significant concessions to end the war.
Телефонный разговор Владимира Путина и Трампа.
The 90-minute call between Mr. Trump and Vladimir Putin is headline news on Russian television, which is labelling it a historic event. The two agreed to soon meet in person to advance negotiations, most likely in Saudi Arabia. And while the Ukrainian president had his own conversation with the US leader, Volodymyr Zelenskyy has stressed the importance for his country to be the priority.
It's important that everything does not go according to Putin's plan, in which he wants to do everything to make his negotiations bilateral between him and the United States of America. We, as a sovereign country, simply will not be able to accept any agreements without us.
Moscow illegally annexed Crimea 11 years ago and now occupies about a fifth of Ukrainian territory after launching its full-scale invasion in 2022. The Trump administration has upended US policy on the conflict and now says it's unrealistic for Kyiv to expect a return to its pre-2014 borders. It's also rejected Ukraine's long-held ambition to join NATO.
The fact that Trump seemingly gave everything away and Putin got everything he wanted is not a good sign for things to come. The other question, of course, is what does this actually look like? And that's where I think the distinction between a ceasefire and a peace deal is important, because a ceasefire means that Ukraine could hold on to its territorial integrity, whereas a peace deal along the current front lines would mean ceding significant amounts of territory to Russia.
Russia continues to shell Ukrainian targets. Officials in the eastern Donetsk region say a man was killed and 5 others injured in an attack on a residential area. With the scars of war evident across the country, many people have expressed disappointment that the US appears to be favouring Russia in negotiations on Ukraine's future.
It was only a matter of time before we would find ourselves in this position. For the first time in these 12 years, decisions concerning Ukraine will be made without Ukraine.
I am really disappointed in Trump, that he will meet Putin and that this will happen without Ukraine. They will decide on Ukraine's fate.
Senior US officials, led by Vice President J.D. Vance, are in Germany for the Munich Security Conference, which will also be attended by the Ukrainian president. The US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, says Washington is committed to Ukraine's independence. Mr. Trump says officials from the US and Russia will meet in the Bavarian capital, with Ukraine also invited, though at this stage Kyiv doesn't expect to take part in those talks. The US president insists Ukraine will have a seat at the negotiating table.
They're part of it. We would have Ukraine, we would have Russia, and we'll have other people involved too. A lot of people, a lot of forks in the, a lot of forks in this game. I'll tell you what, this is a very interesting situation, but the Ukraine war has to end. The young people are being killed at levels that nobody's seen since World War II, and it's a ridiculous war.